Don't be afraid to tweak your technique. Hi, friends, it's Adam, the Crippled Cannabis Cowboy. Welcome to another episode of Crips and Buds. I'm a cripple and I like buds of cannabis. Don't be afraid to tweak your technique. We all got to start somewhere. And I remember when I was a coach, there was this thing I had in my head that everybody sucks at first. You gotta work the suck out. Looking at my journey, I wanted to grow my own medicine. And not only did I want to grow my own medicine, but I wanted to grow good medicine. So it's like a journey, just like anything else. Learn the basics, they're gonna get you so far, and then you refine stuff, you add stuff, make stuff better. That's what I did, and this is where I am now. It starts with using the right equipment. You can use a tent, a closet, a whole room. I have grow tents, just like the one behind me. I actually have 4 of them next to my bed because I'm disabled and I can't move around really. So each one has its own purpose. So in that, a lot of learning was in there. So that was pretty cool. You're gonna need a good light. Plants always need good light, so you kind of get what you pay for. Things are a lot cheaper now than they were, a lot more affordable, that's what I'll say. Back in the day, things were a lot different. With the lights that I have now, I couldn't even look at the price tag back then. Well, they didn't even work that good back then, but you're gonna need an area to grow a plant and you're gonna need a light. On top of all that, you're gonna need a fan. You can absolutely get by with a cheap $10 Walmart fan. You could hang it from the ceiling of the tent, from the ceiling of your room, put it on the floor. There's a lot you could do, but plants need airflow, so you have to have something that moves the air around the area that you're gonna grow a plant in. This is just what happened for me, so keep that in mind. The next big help was learning about how to water. Yeah, water has its own thing. You gotta make sure the pH is good, all the water stuff that goes with it. But I made it simple. If it's got a pH up or a pH down, fine, they sell stuff for that. After a while, you get into something called living soil, and if you build it the right way, you kind of don't have to worry about pH, whatever. That's a whole separate topic. The watering practice, this is what I do. What I've learned so far is plants, they kind of like moist. So every single morning, I moisten the tops of the soil of my plants. A quick spray down just to make it moist. I don't water them, I just spray it down. No, that's every tent I have. I make sure that the seedlings have water for humidity. I make sure my veg tent, the soil's misted down. I make sure my flower tent, the soil's misted down, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes I would even do that at night. You after you get experience, you kind of feel on your skin or how cold it is, because cold weather is a lot less humid than warm weather. So it's almost like I could feel it on my skin that if, like, see my lips are starting to, they feel like, okay, they might get chapped. I'll mist my plants at night too, just real quick, just it's like that's it. I don't water them. Then you gotta learn a water practice, and I'm still learning excellent watering practice. It is a vast world this watering practice routine. And you have to figure out how big your pot is, how much dirt is in there, how much moisture it can hold, how much water it can hold. Not just moist, it's got to be a little more than moist. But you have to figure these things out. And there was a way that I did figure it out, and it really, really helps. I really can't sit there and give you numbers because you gotta go on your own. This is almost where you gotta go away from the nest to figure out your own method of watering. You could water every day. You could water every couple days. You could, depending on the pot size, you could water every day or every couple days. So it kind of depends on how you feel, what you did yesterday, there's a lot of factors that go into the watering practice. I do treat my water. I actually I have an affiliate link now. I can't really share it on here because I had heard that YouTube has a hard time with people sharing links, so I'm not gonna. But I treat all my water with something called Drops of Balance. It's like a water cleaner, just destroys all the bad stuff, bonds to it, whatever, and it mineralizes the water to help the plant out. Now that's moved to other things. Like I would give my gallon of water 1 milliliter of Drops of Balance, and then I will water my plants according to water that's needed. Now in addition to that, I ferment something called EM1. I think that's called effective microbes. Plants love them. It's like a bacteria, whatever. Fermenting it is its own story, so you can look into fermenting stuff. You can just do EM1. I just happen to like to ferment it. So I would give a gallon, like 14 milliliters of this EM1 fermented stuff that I have. And then I would shake up the gallon or whatever, and then I would water my plants. After I would let my water sit about 15 minutes, say, after I gave it the Drops of Balance treatment to kind of like, I don't know, let it work a little bit. Plus, I did notice that, plants don't like warm water. We like warm water, but plants don't like warm water. Good luck with that one. Enjoy the watering practice journey. That's a lot of knowledge right there. Then it goes into like the different stages of growth. I mean, you got a tiny plant, I call them seedlings. Your terms can change depending on how you like. Like I call something that's smaller than like 4 inches a seedling. After it gets like 4 inches high, then it's in veg state. And because I'm an indoor grower and I determine when flower starts and stuff, I can tell when a plant is flowering. Now outdoors is completely different, so that's actually just as cool. So you have a couple worlds to look at right there. That's right, the dirt thing. You could keep it simple for yourself and do the bag soil. They sell all kinds of bag soil for cannabis. You definitely want something that works for cannabis. You could reuse your old soil. I do that to save money. You can mix your own soil using compost and stuff, and I do that too. And it's another part of the journey. I recommend keeping it simple for yourself to get started. And then when, it's like you see the door, you gotta grab the handle and open it. When you open it, it's a whole new room. So that's kind of like how I look at the dirt. I started with Fox Farm, Happy Frog. That's my beginnings. Now I no longer buy bag soil. I'm still exploring the soil journey, so it's a lot of fun. I know to keep it simple, I guess for you, it works for me. A third, and third. A third compost of choice, a third aeration of choice, and a third peat moss. So I guess you could say, peat moss is peat moss. I would save that final 10%, he's got 30, and 30. That would be my amendments, what I wanted to give it. And I'm noticing Craft Blend from Builder Soil works good. I've done it before, so I'm doing it again. Right now, actually, after I finish this video, I'm going to mix some mushroom compost that I got from Florida. Big shout out to Flori Fungi Podcast. They're freaking awesome. I'm doing a podcast with them soon. Whatever, different topic. Then there's the stress thing, or I kind of call it fun. I love to have fun. I love to experiment with my plants. I love LSD. I love HST. I love all the mainlining. Man, I've gotten my fingers into as much as I can. And to keep it simple for you, you have to explore. I know there's something that I learned, like my veg plants, as it's growing up, it's got that main stem. You could bend that stem over, you could do kind of whatever you want with the stem until like you kind of know it's snapped. It's weird, like the outer skin or coating of the seedling does not crack, just the inside tissue cracks. To keep it simple, for myself, I would take that concept of that inner tissue snapping, and that differentiated low stress and high stress for me. Like, you can use scrog nets, you can use all these different things where, you just simply maneuver the branch to go the way you want. And then there's sometimes you kind of have to force the branch to go where you want. Then after you dry it, it's got its own flavors. Then you could cure it and the flavor goes even higher. So you could kind of do what you want with the stresses. You got to play with it, figure out what you like, what you don't like. You got to put some stress on a plant, grow it, actually consume it. Different kinds of stresses, then there's the topping thing, and you could top a plant. That's literally popping its head off. You could film a plant. You could super crop. You can bend. There's so many different things. The mainline, that's a cool one. That's actually what I'm getting into. But there's a lot of different avenues that you can go to help the plant kind of grow. Because I'm a coach, or because I was a coach. I'm sorry, I'm not a coach anymore. There's a big thing when someone has a obstacle in their way or has a mission to accomplish, and they do it, even though they come out the other side all ugly and beat up and unhappy or whatever, they still made it. So if you look at it that way, that's a huge accomplishment. You got through growing a plant, so that probably means you're going to grow another plant. You're going to be even better because you learned all the lessons the first time. Then you're going to grow another plant and another plant and another plant. You're just going to get better and better. So that's kind of how the journey starts. After you decide to harvest a plant, you got stuff to look into, like the trichomes and colors and stuff. Like, you want to know when the plant's ripe. You want to know when it tastes good, when it works, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to learn those things as you journey. You're going to pull a plant too early. You're going to let a plant go too far one time. None of it's bad. It all freaking works, Whether you like the effects that this flower provides is up to you. If you like it, make a mental note. Be like, hey, I really like this kind. I really like this amount of time. I like what I gave it, what I did, blah, blah, blah. You remember stuff. And you apply it another time for another growth. Don't be afraid to refine your techniques. After you learn all this shit, you know how to grow. Then you could go back into it and make it better. That's what I did with martial arts. You could learn, a punch or a kick or a chokehold. And then in time, you learn how to refine that technique. Same thing works with plants, man. After the plant's ripe and you know it looks good or you want to try whatever, you clip it, you hang it up. Takes like 2 weeks. You can smoke it. You can be fine. Let it dry for 2 weeks. Let it dry for 3 weeks or whatever. Pack it in a bowl. 2 weeks later, you might not be able to roll a joint quite yet. You can pack a bowl though. You gotta let it dry a little more for it to be rollable. But you could take it a step further if you want. Now, it doesn't enhance the effects of it. However, it does enhance everything else, like the terpenes, the entourage effect. There's like different effects. You could smoke to get high, or you could smoke for that entourage effect. And I like that entourage effect. Start with the jar. Keep it simple. If you want to learn about curing, then learn about it. Start with the jar. Put some of your dried bud in a jar and burp it every day, a couple times a day for a couple weeks, and you're gonna notice as you consume your flower that the flavor is gonna change. Personally, my favorite so far is, well, I have two. I have the kind of like the Scrog thing is pretty cool. But before I even do that, I like the perpetual grow, man. I like kind of moving around in this clockwise rotation with all of my stuff. Like every tent has this clockwise thing. And, you know, everything's got to start and everything's got to finish. And when I have my timelines down, I'm still refining them. But, you know, basically it's a seedling, like a tiny little one behind me for like a month. It goes into the veg tent for like 2 months. Then it goes into the flower tent for like 2 months. So, you know, you're looking at like 6 months, you know, half a year for an in-grow season. Thanks for watching my video on my growing journey. Subscribe to my channel. Maybe you learned some more. I hope you took some value from this. But if you didn't, so what? If you want it, it doesn't have to be cannabis either. There's something that has to do with growing that helps us connect to like that Zen human thing. It's helped me. It does help me. It continues to help me. It's like I love life. I love to see things grow. So if you like to see them grow too, check out another video.